Was out to dinner the other night with some friends, and we got to talking about craft. In particular, the type of craft that takes a lifetime to live into. Things like, I don't know, a carpenter who works in the same material on, say, a chair or something like this over and over and over, and really gets to understand the wood, understand the mechanics, the way of being with the material. It becomes an extension of self. Um, Thinking there's that one documentary, I think something Dreams of Sushi, the sushi master who is imbues the soul of creating this sushi, and everybody at the table had some affinity for craft, professionally, and none of us felt that we really engaged with the craft to that level of depth, and so we were sort of enamored with it a little bit. Um, so yeah, some time has gone by, and I've been thinking about this and places where I have engaged in a type of iteration and refinement of mostly a type of media. Um, and I was thinking back to a couple projects where this has been the case, and now this video project, which is starting to take on this character. And two in particular before. One was a long-standing GIF project, where and the location of showing this work was Tumblr. This would have been, I want to say, like 2010 through 2015, maybe. It was a pretty ripe environment for sharing artistic works, and quite a fun feedback loop. The place was really lively. There weren't a lot of ads. There were a lot of artists, and it was a really fun place to practice. So the work that I stumbled upon combined photography, and in particular DSLR photography, with animated GIFs. Um, so yeah, you can go take a look at the work that I produced. It's at dave.limo. I'll link it up. But basically, it was a practice of taking my DSLR camera, many cameras over that period, and going out into nature and looking for loops that I could create in GIF form. And then I developed a whole process and feedback loop for producing these things, and was able to refine the process, refine the artifacts, and get to some level of mastery in this form. Uh, Towards the end of this, Apple actually introduced live photos and a looping feature, which was an automated version of the thing that I was doing manually. So it was interesting. It was interesting having that come online, and I've continued the practice, but with less dedication, using the iPhone camera. The other project that I played with was also in a social media environment, on Twitter. Early days on Twitter, there were a lot of writers, because the form of Twitter was microblogging, and it was a really fun place to play with short form writing, because at the time it was only 144 characters. There wasn't much to do on the platform other than do that. And somebody, I forget who it was, created a site called Favored, and it basically pulled from the API and favorites at the time. They were called, can't remember if they're heart or stars. You would star something, and it would create a favorite, and he created a leaderboard. And so there was a very small group of people, maybe a couple thousand, maybe a bit more than that. And we were all writing jokes and little lines of poetry and this kind of thing. And it was a really fun way to iteratively work on compacting writing into a form that hooked people. And it was how I learned to copyright. And a lot of the other people that participated in this were either comedy writers or copywriters, and their feedback was great. Met a lot of interesting people this way too. So what's coming up in feeling into these processes is the nature of the difference between the artifact that comes out of a process like this and the process which informs the work. And this has been coming up in a few areas around my work in experience design. And experience design has this attribute of being more process oriented than object oriented, and feeling into the nature of like, say, a choreography for an experience has a different feel than producing or manufacturing an object or artifact. And this is really difficult to talk about if you don't have a felt sense for this. And so I'm working on articulating this to some degree. So in the two projects that I mentioned, it really was about feeling into a version of reality through this process and daily seeing through the media, in one case photography, in another case writing, and experiencing the world this way. And the iterative process day over day of doing something like this develops an appreciation and a sense of taste in a particular form. And what I've noticed is when you agree to one of these kinds of long-term media projects, or they catch you and you go along for the ride, however you look at it, finding a way to instantiate the practice of one of these things into your life is as much the art as anything else. And there is a great joy in sort of reconfiguring yourself in relationship to an artistic practice like this. So I think I'll speak about that some more, the particularities and thinking about how to create a playground for yourself, and how to approach a day over day or a longer term project like this. For now, I'm feeling the sense of this coming online for this video project. I'm very early in the process and don't really know where it's going or what I'm trying to make with this, but I do have the beginnings of a pattern. So I find myself walking around monologuing through voice notes to feel into how to externalize what I'm feeling internally, and writing little scripts to see if that is the way the form wants to develop. Yeah, and it's becoming a fun process. The first couple of these, though, not fun. I had to get distinctly over the cringe factor, but that seems to be dropping away to some degree now. Anyhow, process, artifact, long-term art projects, very fun. Curious if any of you have done anything like this and have any observations about the process of making a work over a long period of time. Peace.